Okay, so here I have a we have a sequence with this magic orb thing flying around. So I want to add some particle systems and things to this orb to make it look a little bit more interesting. So what I'm going to do first is, I guess I can just use this cube. Set my camera up so we look at it from that angle. Okay, so I'm going to make a metaball. Metaball because the metaballs can do like nice things like that. Okay, so I want this deformation to be on that orb. I'm going to scale down this cube. We're not going to render it eventually. Control A and just reset scale. Okay, so under the particle settings, particles here, I'm going to make a new particle system. And under render, I'm going to switch that from render to object, and I'm going to pick that metaball. Okay, so that it starts emitting little metaballs. Alright, so I don't want it to fall down like snow or rain or something like that, so I'm going to switch the physics to Boids. Okay, so they kind of they're not affected by physics. They have their own kind of what they call Boid brain, which we can control um, and do stuff to, so we can kind of animate it. So I'm going to remove the flock. I just want them to separate out. Okay. So at the moment it looks very weird. So I'm going to go to um, what do we have? I don't want them to be the particles to be living very long. I don't need 1,000 either. So let's try 50. Lifetime is like 5 frames, and then I need to actually I can't see anything now. I need to actually also set my scale. So I'm going to make these betables a bit bigger and randomize them quite a lot so they do that. Okay. Um, I just want to check my metaball resolution here. So the resolution, I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller so we can see. Okay, I think the amount of metaballs is too little. So let's try 1,000 again. There we go. So that's kind of what I want. So you can make Boids. Let's see, movement. We can make them slower. There's acceleration, angular velocity, things like that. So there's quite a bit you can do with these Boids. Um, but I think this is kind of what I want. Alright, let's actually animate this thing a little bit, because there is going to be animation on it, so let's see what it does. I'm going to have it stand still for a while, location rotation, then quickly move, say there, and back there, and then stand still for another bit. So let's see what that does. Okay, that's kind of cool. Alright, so we won't see the cube once we render. Okay, let's get a bit of a shader on here. First off, I need some lighting, so I'm just going to add an HDRI, so environment texture, open. Let's see, I've got HDRIs here. I'll use this one, and I don't actually let's render. Don't actually want to see the. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter. For now, we want to kind of see what it will look like in in live action footage. So I'm going to switch to cycles. It's probably going to give us a better result. Make a new shader. Let's do something like metallic and a little bit less roughness so we get like a nice little reflective ball. Okay. Obviously, you can do quite a bit with this still. Change the base colors, maybe put in something like a Fresnel into a color ramp, and yeah, that's kind of cool. Push, um, maybe make this a little bit lighter, dark blue. That that's starting to look quite interesting. Okay, However, this thing can be shaded however you want it. Um, Now I want some secondary particles. Let's do. I'm going to actually add some smoke to it, but I'm not going to use the actual smoke modifier or smoke effect. I want to. It's going to take really long um, and it's going to not maybe give the exact effect that I want. So I'm going to make procedural like puffs of smoke. So I'm going to make another cube. I should probably name these cubes. So this one is smoke cube. Smoke cube. That one in there is our emitter. Emitter. Okay, just so that we can keep track of what we're doing here. Okay, so this one I'm going to put another shader on it. I'm going to delete this principled and add in a gradient texture. Okay, so and that gradient I'm going to put straight into volume. Okay, so it gives us that a little bit of a hazy volume thing. I'm going to switch the gradient to quadratic sphere. Then Control T. So Control T won't work if you don't have Node Wrangler active. So if you don't have it active, just activate it under Preferences Add-ons, and you can hit Control T to get this, or otherwise you'll have to make a mapping and a text coordinate node. I'm using this to get the volume in the center. So I need to move the location. Well, I've done this a few times. I know -2, -2, -2, 2, 2, 2 should get it. No, that usually gets it in the center. Let's just see, Control A, scale. Yeah, no, okay. So maybe let's just move it until it looks like -1, -1, -1. That will work. Okay, -1 and 2, 2, 2 gets it in the center. Cool. We want it to be a little bit more dense, so I'm going to bring in a math node, math, and I'm going to multiply it by like 100, and that goes really dense. It's not going to show me now. I need to switch to render. No. Oh, because I'm on add. It needs to be multiply. There we go. And then I'm going to add a principled volume in there. I'm going to plug it into density, so we get a nice dense little ball there. It probably needs a bit more directional light as well. I'm going to delete this point light I have and add in a sun, and just give us some angular light on it so we can see. And I'll push up that sun a little bit to say 2. Okay. So now we've got a dense little smoke ball there. Okay, let's make it a little bit more noisy by adding a noise texture in here, bringing in a math node, math, mixing those two together. Okay, and now I need to readjust my fall off here, so it sits in the center again. Okay, I'll have to do it on render mode because otherwise I can't really see what I'm doing. Let's try -2, -2, -2. Okay, there we go. Okay, it doesn't. I don't want it to actually touch the edges like that, so I'm going to, on this gradient, just add a ramp and see if I can get it away from the edges a little bit. It's kind of working. Okay, so I'll probably have to adjust the scale until I get it away from the edges. That's working. Okay, I'm just worried about seeing flat edges in the -4.2 when it emits. Okay, you'll just have to tweak these things until it does what you want it to do. Okay. Um, I'll need to tweak it a little more. It doesn't, no, from that angle it doesn't look too bad. But there I can see straight lines, which I don't like. Yeah. Okay. No, still on the edges there. Really small. Okay, that's better. Now I guess I can just try and move it more into the center. Come on. Okay, at least I don't see edges. We can do this and get some more smoke out of it. Um, okay, well, anyway, I'm going to randomize it because if you, this needs to be on 4D. That will give me way more control. Okay. Minus 4, minus 4, minus 4. Move away from the edge. It should be Y. I don't know. There. Ah, okay. Okay. Well, what I do have is I have this W slider, which randomizes the smoke. It still sticks to the edge. I really hate that. And the scale, maybe -8, -8, -8. That doesn't work. No, minus. The scale should be positive. 8, 8, 8. Okay. Having a little bit of an edge on it's probably not the end of the world. No, okay. Um, why does it stay so close to the damn edge? And scaling up won't work because it it changes. Control A scale. Yeah, that's not going to do. Okay. It looks cool, but I really don't want it so close to the edge of the box. Come on. I have done it before where I got it way better. um, okay, I guess that will have to do for now. I can work with that. Um, Let's make it a little bit wispier. Okay, that's not, except for the back. Okay, I'm just gonna work with that. See what that gives me. Okay, I guess that'll have to do. Maybe I can use the alpha instead. Doesn't make much of a difference. Okay, anyway, tweak this until you're happy with it. Then I want to add object info into here, a random into W, so that way, if we have more than these, they're not going to all look the same. They'll randomize themselves. Okay, let's delete them. Okay, smoke cube. Then on my, let's look here, on my particle emitter, that guy, I'm going to make a new particle layer. Okay, let's call this ball, let's call this smoke. This one as well, I want it to be, I don't want it to be Newtonian, so it doesn't drop to the ground. Also going to do Boids on that, so let's see what that does. Okay, that's what the Boids do at the moment. Cool. Um, Maybe the lifetime everything's fine. I'm just going to go to render, find that object, and render my smoke object, smoke cube, and we'll do that. Let's see. Okay, so it kind of makes like a little bit of smoke trail. Let's do scale a lot more. Don't die, don't die. Okay. Scale randomness up. So when we do render, we get this ball of smoke. Um, let's select the smoke ball. It is quite heavy. I probably don't need that many particles. Let's select my emitter, particle cube, particles, let's say 200. Okay. I can also probably, let's just switch off of render. Take this guy and don't need to have it that dense. Okay, I'm not using the alpha anymore, so I can make the alpha full. So I don't need that dense. Let's see what it renders like. Well, it is very dense. I can push that down. Yeah, I can probably do something like that. Um, let's let it play for a while. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, so it makes this like smoke sphere. Oh, smoke cloud. It's quite hectic. I still want to see the. I might not even need the. Well, Maybe I can make it less by doing that. Okay, so it's just a bit of a cloud of smoke around it. Let's see what that does. I'll switch to Eevee real quick, just as an example of what it will look like. Yeah, okay, so there it will kind of make some smoke. That's kind of cool. Okay, so it's got some smoke emitted from it. Maybe I want another element on it. So I'm gonna go to my emission cube emitter. I've got it. Add another one. So let's say this one just be particles. Let's make another mesh. I'm gonna make an icosphere, and I'm gonna make it really low density, so like 1. Okay, we'll move it out of place. Not you, icosphere, please. We'll call that particle. Let's give it a new shader. I'm going to take off the BSDF, make it emission. Emission. Give it a bit of a color. Push up that emission to about 5. So on Eevee, if you want, obviously, this will better be rendered with cycles, but I'd probably need to switch on volumetric shadows so I can see the shadows the smoke makes. And I probably need to switch on bloom, so that will make a little glowy thingy. Okay, so on the particle settings again, on that particles, I'm going to again use Boids. And for render, I'm going to use that object. I'm going to use particle, and now we'll get little light particles coming out of it as well. Let's see if I can increase. Let's see. Max airspeed, push that up a lot. Acceleration, angular velocity, like that. Okay, obviously we can edit it the way we want to. Let's see. Let's make the lifetime a little bit less. Let's give it like 2,500 of them. Okay. And obviously, as we do this, we can go on and add more and more layers on top of this, depending on what kind of effect you want. I want to see what it renders like in cycles now. Hopefully it doesn't crash. Okay, that is kind of interesting. It's going to take a long time to render. Well, yeah, it probably needs to be baked still. So if you go to your cache settings for all of these things, if you hit bake all dynamics, um, yeah, it should be a little bit lighter on your system and should render a bit better. But yeah, that could be cool. Okay, so that's the basics of using Boids for something like this.